is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection.
All right, thank you. Like it says here, many of us exclaim. And I was reading that and I was looking for, you know what they mean? Exclaim is forceful. You just so forceful that you just gonna, what they say, many of us exclaim. What an order. I can't go through with it. With force. I'm just not gonna do it. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care what y'all gonna tell me. I don't care how many of y'all come to a meeting. I'm just not gonna do it. Then it says right here, do not be discouraged. It even give you what you call a chance to let somebody know that even if you don't want to, you says right here, do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. You know, a lot of people sit there and take this right here and they use it the wrong way. They figure that because it said that we are not perfect, you know, we're not saints. That means that you can just go out and do anything you want. What it is saying right there is that if you make a mistake, okay, in your recovery process, it's okay to get back up and try again. Because a lot of us say, well, I can do this and I'm going to do that. I done did this wrong. I hurt this person. Well, I'm not perfect. Now you're sitting there hollering, you're not perfect, but you got to think about it now. This right here is not giving you the okay to keep doing wrong. And you got to remember that. And you're going to see that as you go through a lot of meetings. People going to use that. They're going to say they're not saints. So that's okay for them to make a mistake. It is not okay to just keep practicing wrong because you can read this part right here in the book and say you're not a saint. All right? It says, the point is that we're willing to grow along spiritual lines. And the principles we have set down are guides to progress. You heard what he said, right? The principles in here, the first principle behind step one is honesty. All right? Then the second one is hope. The third one is faith. The fourth one is courage. The fifth one is integrity. The sixth is willingness. The seventh is humility. 8 is brotherly love. 9 is self-discipline. 10 is perseverance. 11 is awareness of God. And 12 is service. These are the principles that you're going to try to live by every day. I mean, through everything you're going through, everything you do, you can take this and use it. You know, there's people that don't drink can use these same principles in their everyday life. I have met plenty of people that work in the program all behind these principles. It's like I say, some people say everybody should live behind these principles. Every single person can live behind these principles. You're going to practice honesty. You know what they say, that first step with honesty, right? You're going to sit there and say, well, you know what? I ain't stealing no more. That's what they think about. Now, you know, honesty, it was the first step is saying, I can't do it no more. I can't do it no more. I surrender. I'm throwing my hands up. And then y'all telling me to abandon myself to God, and I got to change my life. All that stuff is coming out of honesty. I told you, if everybody look at it and say, well, I ain't stealing no more, I ain't doing wrong no more, it's being honest with yourself. You know, they tell us in the meetings, they say, step 1, you're powerless over alcohol and your life is unmanageable. You say, okay, but you're doing that because somebody told you. You're doing that because everybody else you say around you is doing that. You got to be honest with yourself. Say, I'm defeated. I can't do it no more. You know, last week we was talking about abandoning yourself to God. And that's surrender. You said, God, okay, you in charge. I can't do it no more. I need your help. And that is one principle that you're going to have off the rip. You're going to have to be honest. And guess who? Who you got to be honest with? Anybody know? With yourself. And once you get honest with yourself, because see, I do it for her, him, you know what I'm saying? I do it for y'all, but I got to be honest with myself. I can't keep doing this no more. If I do, I'm going to die. Come on, man, you can finish reading.
Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostic, and our personal adventure before and after made clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he were sought.
Y'all heard what he said, didn't you? All right. Those letters, A, B, and C, is step 1, 2, and 3. So you got to remember that now. It's 1, 2, and 3. It say that we were alcoholics and could not manage our own lives. That's one of the first steps. So, okay, I drink. You know, a lot of people don't know what an alcoholic is. So, see, I did not know what an alcoholic was. My family, they drank. We see people throw bottles. I see people arguing all the time. And I just thought that was the way people did. You know, like Robert was telling us one time, normal stuff. I thought that was normal stuff. That it was okay to drink and leave home, don't take care of your kids. And that's what I've seen and when I grew up. People doing wrong. I said, they drank, and that's okay. But see, my stepfather, he went to work every day. He worked 3 jobs, and he drank. So I tell you, that's what alcoholics do. They go to work every day, and he worked 3 jobs. I had one uncle that worked at the airport, right? And back then, all those guys, they wore uniforms, right? And, man, I thought they was airline pilots, right? So I said, you wear a uniform, he airline pilot. Guess what he did? He drank. I had one uncle, he was an entrepreneur. And he had his own grass cutting service. He went and cut grass every day and went to work. So I thought alcoholics did that. Now, my grandmama, she was a different story. My grandma drank, and she didn't do nothing but raise hell. She was always into something, you know? And that's the stuff, you know, but guess what? The stuff I seen her doing, I thought that was normal too. Hit my granddad in the head, you know what I'm saying? I thought that was normal. But they talking about right here, it says that we were alcoholics and could not manage our own lives. Now, drinking, I got a job. I'm thinking that, okay, I got this job. I'm in charge. I'm going to work every day. You know, I did not see unmanageability. I did not know that my life was unmanageable. Because I thought it was okay to doggone mess up every now and then. You know, all I do is drink a little bit. Now, I did not see that when I had my house, my cars, my dogs, my wife, and you know, going to work, drinking a little bit of liquor, I didn't see that was unmanageable. I did not see that was unmanageable. You know how we still say we used to have things? You heard the word, past tense, ain't that right there? Had. But this stuff right here, because I did not see, I didn't know my life was dysfunctional. When I lived 10 years walking up and down Simpson and Ashby, homeless, I didn't think that was unmanageable. I thought just the way life's supposed to be. This the one that God gave me. Since I done messed up so bad, I did not see that as unmanageability. I did not see knowing where all the soup kitchens were, all the places where you can go eat at, was unmanageable. I thought that was just normal stuff. That, like you say, the alcoholic life was the only normal one. So I thought that was normal, to walk around like that. Then it says right here, it says that probably no human power could relieve our alcoholism. Y'all heard what it said then. No human power. No matter how many times your girlfriend, your wife, or whoever they is, or your husband, please, baby, don't drink tonight. Now, see, y'all quit because of, because she's so good. Y'all quit because she's so kind. He ought to quit because he got this wonderful job and his boss and everybody love him. And no matter how much they do, you know what? They talk about prayer. Me and my mom was talking about it, right? They were talking about praying. And she said, I prayed and I prayed. I said, yeah, and I drank and I drank. No matter how much she prayed, I still drank. And with me myself, with my higher power, who I choose to call God, they prayed all they could, and they prayed all they wanted. I didn't stop drinking until I wanted to stop drinking. You see what I'm saying? All the power that they had, all the praying that they did, all the don't do it, run, I still drank. No matter how many times the children didn't have nothing, and they say, Daddy, please stop. I did not stop. It took a power of God. It took God to come into my life. And actually, you know what it did? It took me to come into his life. I had to come and say, God, help me, please. Please, I surrender. Like I said, when you come in here and surrender, I don't want to brag on y'all guys that's up here with Robert. But man, I think you got the best thing going. You got the best thing going. Because man, if you stick around here and go to places like I do, I go to detoxes, and people are in there, and we sitting there praying. You know, I got a friend of mine. I've been praying for. I stopped praying for him. It ain't gonna do no good. He won't stop. He ain't gonna stop till he won't stop. I pray for the guys that I see come in here. I pray for the guys that at other places I go that are trying to make it. I said, God, help them. Help them know that they're alcoholics, that the only one can get them out of it is you. And I found this out, working in steps. And guess what? Getting a sponsor. Letting this doggone guy come into my life. I ain't saying he was my God, but I tell you one thing. He sure helped me connect with him. Because he would tell me things like, I used to try to, I had one of these gods, like, you know, he had these, he fall from the sky. That's the God I was looking for. That's the God I was raised with. He come down from the sky. And I was waiting on him. I remember one time I was broke. And I didn't have nothing, right? And I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. I said, well, then my sponsor called me. He said, look, you coming to the meeting tonight? I said, no, man. I said, I don't have no gas. He said, all those people you've been riding around and taking to the store and going all these places, and you don't have no gas. I said, well, God gonna take care of me. He gonna give me some gas. He said, who you think that was, fool? Who you think that was? The people that offering you gas money to ride in your truck. That was God. And see, I always wanted this Santa Claus thing. And I found out I got a relationship now with God. And God helped me through this. You can sit here now and think that you can do it all by yourself. No human power can relieve your alcoholism. It says right here, see that God could and would if he was sought. You know what? You don't seek him, it ain't gonna work. Because a lot of people, I got another guy I talked to the other day, he always try to rub up against you. See what I'm saying? I told him, I said, you can't get it like that. I told him, you can't get it like that. Yeah, every time he said, come here, Ron, come here, Ron. I said, you can't get it like that. And you know, a lot of people don't want to do the God thing. But that's okay too. People recover. People recover. You know, I got a relationship with God that he loved me so much that even if I don't love him, he gonna love me. I guess that's why a lot of us still him. Because we should have been dead a long time ago. But then, like I said, that God could and would. You're going to have to seek him. I don't know if you're going to have to go to church. You're going to have to do something spiritual to find God. I did not know that I'd be doing what I'm doing now. I didn't know I was going to be doing this. And I ain't talking about sitting right here. I'm talking about working recovery, the way I work recovery. My sponsor sit there and told me, he said, Ron, you're going to keep raising your hand. You're going to keep asking questions. You're going to keep getting answers. And God's going to do something for you that you ain't going to be looking for. And here's what I had to do, though. I had to prepare myself for this. I had to sit there and pray, say, God, it's on you. I'm going to follow you. God could and would if he was solid. Ain't that right, James?
That's right.
All right. Okay, go ahead.
Being convinced, we were at step 3, which is that we decided to turn our will and our life over to God as we understood him. Just what do we mean by that? And just what do we do?
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, no, right now. Now, Miss Brown, that's what she got me with that one. She sit there one night. I was living in their house, right? And she came in and she said, "What step you on?" I said, "Step 3." And she said, "And?" So I'm sitting there going, "And?" "Yeah, I'm on step 3, and?" So step 3, if you know, it said God could and would if he was sought. Then it says right here on step 3, it says, made a decision to turn your will and your life over to care of God as you understand God. That was a real big decision. Real big decision. You know what it told me? It said, go on to 4. That's what it said. Go on to step 4. I got this relationship with God that I thought I never would have. I sit there, and a lot of people be looking for gifts. They look for gifts. Somebody told me the other day, said, "We're going to run if you help him out, God's going to take." And I said, "No, he ain't got to do that. He ain't got to give me nothing." What I get from him is peace out of this whole thing. I get peace. And I do not have to dog. I told you, if I help somebody today, I'm not looking for nothing in return. And that's what people think. You're supposed to get something in return, running around working for God. I get something in return, but I sure ain't looking for it. It just comes. If you see the stuff that's happened in my life since I turned my wheel on, you wouldn't believe it. I couldn't tell you. Stuff happened that I just don't even understand. But I sit there and I say, you know what? I said, the faith I got, and all it came from working for my sponsor. My sponsor had to introduce, he introduced me to my God. When I first got here, I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I said, well, the God I had, that my mama them had, he was all right with me. I said, I don't know what y'all say. The God that I had that kept care of me while I was in them homeless shelters and eating out the garbage can, he was okay with me. But I sat down with my mama one night, and she said, well, God do punish you. He'll send you, they talking about the gates of hell and all of this stuff. And I'm going like, I said, wait a minute now. I said, wait a minute. I don't think I need no God that's going to punish me. I can punish myself. And I found out this whole time, you know who punished me? Me. They said, who drank all that liquor? I did. Who smoked all that stuff? I did. And I'm sitting there thinking that God did all that to me. God, look, I already been to the gates of hell. You know what I'm saying? He probably kept me from going through the gate. But I'm not going to sit here. And I blame God. And see, when I did my 4th step, I had to put God down there. Because they told me, they said, my sponsor told me, so you didn't put God down on your 4th step? I said, no, I had no problem out of God. He said, how many times you laid down in that house and in that abandoned building, you say, God, why you letting this happen to me? You say you own the world and you can do everything. Why you letting this happen to me? And you're supposed to get me out of this. But see, what we got is a choice. I got a choice. I can stay that way if I want to. I can come out of it if I want to. And the day I choose to come out of it, all right? Come on, man.
The first requirement is that we be convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. On that basis, we are almost always in collision with something or somebody, even though our motives are good. Most people try to live by self-propulsion. Each person is like an actor who wants to run the whole show, is forever trying to arrange the lights, the ballet, the scenery, and the rest of the players in his own way.
Now, look at this right here. It says, the first requirement is being convinced that any life ran on self-will can hardly be a success. On that basis, we are almost in collision with something or somebody, even though our motives were good. You sitting there thinking because you giving, helping people. But then why you always somebody, he doing this and he doing that. You giving, but what you doing on the other side? causing problems, doing the wrong thing. Anybody ever seen anybody do that? You, even though your motives are good, you feed the homeless. You doggone look. You do everything you can to help people in the program. You do everything you can to help people in the street. But then you always in collision with somebody. Even though your motives are good, you always in collision with somebody. And you know what they call that? They call that self-will. And when it ran by me, I know I'm in some trouble. I live off God's will. I remember Leroy Daniels always said that it's God's will, not mine. I can sit up here right now and, boy, I don't know if anybody, every one of y'all ever did that. You notice when it's God's will and when it's yours? I can wake up in the morning and my whole doggone day just tore up. Then I look and see who's running it. Me. I'm doggone down there and I just gave this man $50. And then he still calling me out my name. Maybe it's something that I done did before that gave me $50. Maybe it's the way I carry myself. Because you know, they always call it judging, right? In the program, we call it judging. I call it seeing. Because when I can see, I ain't judging you. Now, if somebody come up to me and tell me, they say, well, he did this, and I ain't seen it. And then somebody come up and tell me, and they say, well, what about that guy right there? And I tell you, I said, man, he ain't no good. And I ain't seen him do none of this stuff. But if I done seen him, they say the guy over there sell cars. And 3 people done bought a car from this man. And none of the cars work. And I sit up there and go, I said, well, I don't know about that. I ain't seen that. But then I'm going back because you told me that. Now, if I go over there and buy a car from him, and then you walk up to me and ask me, you say, well, how's that man cars over there? His cars ain't no good. So that means I'm judging him. I ain't judging him. His cars ain't no good. And that's what we do in this program. We sit around and say we judge him. No, I'm telling you ain't no good. And that's what we need to be doing. Folks hiding in the program. Debbie, you talked about that. Let me start calling folks names. My friend she talked about that at a meeting a little while ago. About people hiding. You know what I'm saying? We hiding people. And then when somebody say something about it, they say they judging them. You're doing wrong, you're doing wrong. Now, we know what happened when you stop drinking. Your eyes open up and you can see. We used to cover up stuff a long time ago. And most of the time when your life is raggedy and it's bumpy, you better know who's doing it. Ain't that right, mister? When your life get raggedy and that road get bumpy. So for some reason, that I've seen this personally in my own experience, that when God running it, I don't know why, I just rolled. Oh, it be so smooth. Like riding in a doggone brand new car. Y'all smell that new interior when you ride in a brand new car, them new tires on there. That's how it is when God running. Now when I get to running it, it can get bumpy. Just like going down the Ponce de Leon. That's the roughest street I ever picked up. You know what I'm saying? That's when I know I'm running it. We were coming in tonight and I started running it. The guy in the car with me, he told me, he said, look at you road raging, ain't you? I started running. The longer we were riding them bumps and we were cruising on in here. But then I took over the wheel. God was driving on the way in there. I'm looking at my watch. I said, man, I sure want to get there at least by 7 o'clock. Then I started running it. Man, look, the lines got bagged up. Wasn't even no red light up there. We bagged up in traffic. And the guy was with me, he told me, he said, you got to calm down soft, you know. Once I calmed down, look, we cruised on in here. He hollered, turn right there. I said, no, you see that big old hole right there? I done got beat up enough. I done got beat up enough. Come on, my man.
If his arrangements would only stay put, if only people would do as he wished, the show would be great. Everybody, including himself, would be pleased. Life would be wonderful. In trying to make these arrangements, our actor may sometimes be quite virtuous. He may be kind, considerate, patient, generous, even modest and self-sacrificing. On the other hand, He may be mean, egotistical, selfish, and dishonest. But, as with most humans, he is more likely to have varied traits.
Various traits. I don't know, now one of y'all ain't never been out to be the actor, right? Who wants to run the whole show. This guy was doing this big book study. And it's the first time I ever noticed that anything like that was happening, right? And he was doing this big book study, and everybody was listening. He was doing a good job. And I'm sitting there going, he don't know what he's talking about. I'm going to find something in this book. I know it's something in this book going to relate to me so I can get him back for what he's doing. Then he started talking about, he is like the actor who wants to run the whole show, always arranging the scenery, the lights, the balance, when the show don't go all his way. You see that? It started pointing at me. That's me. I'm always trying to run something. And the show don't go off good. People don't do it the way I want to do it. Who I like to call my sponsor name then. He know how I act when he know how I act when the show don't go off my way. Boy, y'all gonna say, wrong way, and say spirituality. Go. Cause boy, I want to be in charge. I want everybody to do the way I want them to do. Somebody tell you that now. Most of my friends that know me personally, I can be something else. Wait a minute now. We gonna have a study at 1 o'clock. And I go to that. Well, I can't get there at 1 o'clock, but everybody else can get there at 1 o'clock. Then I'm hot. I want to change the whole thing. I'm arguing, rearranging stuff, and then when somebody say, "Well, we don't want to do it," then I'm hot again. I don't know if y'all ever ran that. Y'all ain't trying to run anything? Boy, I'm always trying to be the one. I want everything to go my way. I used to do that when I was married. And I said, man, if I could just, everything fine. I said, here you go. And boy, it's fine. And I said, here you go. Boy, it's fine. I said, okay. Now I want these two to do this. And this, everybody to do this. And as long as it's like this right here. And boy, when one of them step out of line, I lose it. Now I'm pointing at everybody. I'm arguing with everybody. Y'all ain't never did that. Ain't nobody never did that. Ain't anybody ever tried to run the whole show. Huh? Want to be in charge of something. And I don't know why I'm working on that. I won't say I'm working on that. Because it comes up every single day. You want to be in front. And man, it will drive you crazy. That's me. I don't know, I guess my sponsor got to do a little bit more work on me. I guess we're getting ready to do this 4th step. I'm going to put that down in there. Because, boy, I know I love to run some stuff. So, I get it. I don't know. But see, I always been a leader. I've never been a follower. But guess what? Some days you have to be a follower.
Say that.
And I don't like that. When I got him, that's what I had to do. I had to be a follower. And man, I wanted to doggone tell him how to take him to the step, where we going to meet. I didn't know nothing about this stuff. Because I wanted to arrange it my way. Well, Ron, we going to meet. I said, well, no, I don't want to come that time of day. But let me tell you something. When I got with this man, when I found out that I couldn't be the leader no more, I had to be a follower. I had tears in my eyes. I was beat to submission. I said, please help me, man. I can't go no more. I can't be in charge no more. Because I've been running my life all the time. I've been running my life on self-will all the time. I don't think nobody else been doing that for me. But this man sitting there, he told me, he said, this is what we got to do. You know what I said? This is what I got to do. But I found out, it said, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. So that means you got to find somebody that's been on the path before, and you got to follow them. It didn't say you got to lead them, it said you got to follow them. So I found somebody that could take me through this program. He took me to hospitals, he took me to nursing homes, he took me to doggone, I still do it today. I might be up front right now, but guess what? I'm up front, but I'm still following. I'm following somebody being up here. I'm following somebody sitting right here because somebody had to do this before me. If you in this program and you working this program you know this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to follow somebody. You can't keep letting everything go the way you think it's going to go. Because when it don't go all right, guess what happens? You be in them doggone gray and black cars out in the Cape. In Atlanta, they blue and white. They blue and red cars. When the show don't go off your way, especially when you're in relationships and you're in marriages, when the show don't go off your way, because the woman will call the police. And it will cost you thousands of dollars. Then you'll find out who's running the show. Come on, man.
What usually happens, the show doesn't come off very well. He begins to think life doesn't treat him right. He decides to exert himself a little more. He becomes, on the next occasion, still more demanding or gracious, as the case may be. Still, the play does not suit him. Admitting he may be somewhat at fault, he is sure that other people are more to blame. He becomes angry, indignant, self-pitying. What is his basic trouble? Is he not really a self-seeker even when trying to be kind? Is he not a victim of the delusion that he can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of the world if he only manages well? Is it not evident to all the rest of the players that these are the things he wants? And do not his actions make each of them wish to retaliate, snatching all they can get out of the show? Is he not, even in his best moments, a producer of confusion rather than harmony?
You can stop right there. You got me with that one. Even I can be being kind and still be causing confusion. And I hate my sponsor. I don't even want to look his way. You know, it's just like I can see, self-pity, even with 9 years. Boy, let something happen. In 9 years. But look here, the way I do it, I'm going to do this right here now. The way I do in the Cape, we let people share too. Because there's other people got experiences. Anybody want to comment on that? Because we can't hear you. Anybody? Charles.
My name is Charles, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Charles.
This one right here, the way I got into this one right here, it was explained to me that even in my best intentions, I never set out to, if I was trying to do something and control stuff, it was my best intentions for you. It's going to be good for you if you go by what my best intentions is what I'm giving you. But if you don't do it, then I'm in a world of trouble. Don't hurt. That's how I got this piece right here, because this is a long one.
It's a long one. It's a long one. Anybody else?
My name is Cheryl, recovering alcoholic.
Hey, Cheryl.
I was just thinking about all the stuff you were sharing and, reading this again, because it's been a long time since I read it, but how you was talking about how I'm still trying to control stuff even with years. Trying to run the whole show, and when if God is in it, and that third step, if you make that decision to turn it over, how you have to have the courage and trust what's going to happen, and follow with somebody, because we all are leaders in our own way, and just learning how to sit back and let somebody show you how to do it in a different way outside of your own thinking, and that's what I meant today, having somebody teach me how to live when I thought I knew how to live, because I think I'm grown, and I think I know how to run my own life. And when somebody goes telling me some new ways to do stuff, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So I was crying all yesterday, because somebody's trying to show me a new way of living. And I'm like, I'm not comfortable with that yet. They said, well, sure, just look at it. I said, okay, this is what I can do. I can do the footwork. And whatever happens, I'm going to leave it up to God. That's something that I never did before, just trying it anyway, the suggestion. And just see what's going to happen with it and leave the outcome of the God. So I think that is working the third step, like turning it over anyway. Even when I can't even believe it or don't understand it, just try it. And that's what the purpose of having the sponsor for, somebody to show you how to do it, or somebody in your life that's working this program, because it don't always have to be a sponsor. It could just be somebody who's actually working the program. They're trying to help you in your recovery and just trusting the process, and I think that's what you was talking about, and how you can just get in the way of that. Thank you for letting me share.
You know what? One of the most scariest things that I believe that happens to an alcoholic is change. That's a scary thing. And see, and we have never went through change. Change is scary, because change, you got to stop doing some stuff. You got to stop being a leader. And I showed, man, I didn't want to turn that. I didn't want to turn it loose. And that's the same way it goes with God. I had to turn it over to Him and let Him run it. Because I wanted to keep it. Because it was comfortable to me. I've been doing it for all my life. All my life I have been in charge. I've been running this thing. And look where I'm at. But you know what though? My best thinking got me here. But guess what, man? This is one of the best. I think I'm glad I got here. I'm glad I drank. A lot of people can't say that. I'm glad I live homeless. Because I would not have this relationship that I got right now with God. I wouldn't be, man, please, I wouldn't be listening to none of y'all. I remember on this job, right? This was the way I ran it. They say, I don't want to work with Ron. Two of those. I always wanted to be in charge. Two of those. Three of these. That guy said, man, I'm going to kill him. They said, I'm going to kill him. Because he don't never talk to us. He just pointed. They said, no, if he pop his finger one more time, and the boss bring me in the office, sit down, get on me, and then I sit there and I go, man, all right. I ain't going to do it like that no more. I get right back out there, now here I go again. Three of y'all. All you had to do was just let me be in front for a few minutes. You know what? Even when I was homeless, I was the leader. I was the leader. They said, all right. We got the wine. They got the wine. They said, look here. Let Ron do it now. I said, look here, man. Hold up now. Wait a minute. You see right there? See where that's at? You got to bring it down to right there.
Yeah.
No, now, you go past that. You ain't getting no more. He turned it up. I said, okay, break it down. I'm talking about an homeless guy. We doing all this off a half a pint of wine. And the guys that were there, we especially when we were doing drugs too. You know, they always say, yeah, give him the tools. Let him do it. Because he going to make sure everybody get it even. And that's funny. I'm being in charge in a abandonment. This guy, I remember this guy came in. I came in to we call it cat hole, right? Abandonmentium, right? I come in there and the guy laying in there asleep. And me and my buddy beat this man up and threw him down the steps in an abandoned building. It was in my place.
Wow.
And you know I was in charge of those guys. I had a group of guys, we were homeless, and I was in charge. And when I went to the shelter, guess what? I was in charge. At the shelter. They said, we got to get one guy, because the guys was mistreating us, right? The guy, they bring in food, guys, you know, guys up front, they ain't letting nobody. New shoes come in, a lot of that stuff we didn't see. So I sat down there with the guys, I said, look, we got to get somebody in the front. And the guy said, well, who we going to get in the front? I said, well, you the best guy. You know, I ended up being in charge in the shelter. Charge of the group in the shelter. When the food came in, I said, look here, man, we got food coming in. Shoes come in, I had to make sure the guy, they said, man, get with Ron. Man, that's something. I always wanted to be a leader. But here, I told you, you're going to have to be a follower. We're going to finish this reading because we're running out of time, but we're going to finish some more. Come on, man. Here we go right here.
Our actor is self-centered, egocentric, as people like to call it nowadays. He is like the retired businessman who lolls in the Florida sunshine in the winter, complaining of the sad state of the nation. The minister who sighs over the sins of the 20th century. Politicians and reformers who are sure all would be utopia if the rest of the world would only behave. The outlaw safecracker who thinks society has wronged him. And the alcoholic who has lost all and is locked up. Whatever our prostinations, are not most of us concerned with ourselves, our resentments, or our self-pity?
Now you check this out, what he just said then. They hit a storm going on. All this stuff is happening. And good stuff going on. And I'm looking at a storm. You see that there? Hold on, I'll call your name again. I'm sorry. I'm sitting there complaining about all this good stuff happening right now. Just look at us. All of this good stuff happening. And a lot of times you don't see it. You got to start off with something small now. Life is it's wonderful. It's utopia. And we don't even know it. Oh, they made me get on that truck yesterday. Man, he doing more than I do. You got to remember where you at. Remember where you at. Look, matter of fact, remember who put you where you at. If you sit here now, you ought to be grateful for every single thing that happened to you.
That's right.
I don't care. It should be wonderful everywhere. I walk outside sometimes, they say, man, it's pouring down raining out there. It's been like a beautiful day to me. Because I know some people didn't wake up. Take a trip to a nursing home. Especially the one that Grady got. Take a trip to that nursing home and watch alcoholics over there laying around. Some of them blind. Some of them can't walk. Like the young guy sitting over there, and he can't use his arms. He been shot in the back 5 times, so he can't use his arms, right? So I asked him, I said, look here, man, you ain't gonna smoke no more of them blunts when you get out of here, is you? He said, you want that? And he's sitting there throwing his arms, showing me how he gonna roll a blunt when he get out. And then, now how can I complain about losing a job? And here's a man, you know what I'm saying? I'm complaining about staying out too long on the truck working, or going to a job working too long, or they fired me. And here's a man sitting here trying to figure out how he gonna still get high. Still get high. And that's something. On this other page, this part right here, man, it talks about our selfishness and that self-centeredness. I ain't never had that problem. Never had that problem. And that self-pity. I cry sometimes. I remember crying sometimes being in the detox. I don't know if y'all ain't never been in no detox. Sitting in the detox, looking at another man, saying that he worse than me. I'm sitting there with no shoes, no socks, no underwear, and going through po me. You understand what I'm saying? Po me. And then I'm sitting here and I know I got this self-centeredness. Oh God, there's some stuff, there's trouble. And it says it's the root of our troubles. Everybody thinking that it's your drinking. I ain't selfish. I sit there one time and I told him, I say, it's only hurting me. Anybody ever said that? Oh, yeah. I ain't hurting nobody but me. Until my mom told me, she said she watched the news at night, right? And she sit there at night and they say, young man body found, John Doe. They don't know who he is, no identification on this man. He's 6'2", 60 pounds, because you know I wasn't no 100 pounds. And you don't think that didn't bother her?
Yeah.
You don't think that didn't bother her? So I figured I ain't hurting nobody else. And and all the stealing, I didn't see it was being selfish. I didn't think it was selfish. It was so selfish because all I thought about was me. As long as give me me. Y'all done heard that before, right? Give me me. And as long as I got me, I ain't worried about nobody else. But I had to change that. Let's go on.
Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity, we step on toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Sometimes they hurt us, seemingly without provocation, but we invariably find that at some time in the past we have made decisions based on self, which later placed us in a position to be hurt.
Now that's real big right there. You know, I talked about 100 forms of fear. You know, I've been fearful all my life, and I never even knew it. I was the little boy that couldn't shoot basketball that well, right? And I was fearful for it. I remember watching the young girls growing up. I said, man, if I could just talk to her like those guys. You know, some of the guys could swear their ass to the side, smooth down through there. I just couldn't do it because it's always been something wrong with me. I was always fearful. I don't care what it was, even going out on a job interview, I was scared. I done sit there and told myself before I get it, I don't have it. I've been fearful. All my life I have been fearful. Seeing things happen before they even happen. 100 forms of fear. Self-seeking. I'm the only one that did that, right? No. Okay. All right. 100 forms of fear. That I feel that I'm the only one that's going through this. I'm not the only one that's going through this. I thought that I was a little boy. So I remember my sister was telling me just recently about, because you know when we sit around and we talk, we come up with stuff, right? And I didn't even notice that this stuff that happened. She said, well, you remember when you was a little boy and you always used to knock your Kool-Aid over? And Mama used to lay the news out, and you sit down there, he still knocking. I've been suffering stuff like that all my life. All my life. Just little things like that. I guess that caused fear to come into my life. Relationships ain't gonna come out right. Marriages didn't come out right. Jobs didn't come out right. Just sitting there going, I'm gonna fill out an application and I ain't gonna get the job. Ain't that something? Just toe up and ain't even gonna get the job. Ain't even talked to the people yet. You done seen it before, ain't you? Ain't even got the job. We gotta stop doing that. Now I don't do that today. I don't project this stuff. I don't project fear no more. Because I know he do stuff for me. We talking about the power of God now. Who I choose to call God is the power of God. He sit there and right there he will put it. You know you all got something, right? And you don't even know you got it. You sit here now and you say, well, should I go get this job? Should I go? You don't even know you already got it. The door is already open. I hope I don't step on nobody's toes now. The door is already open. And you don't even know it. But we got so much fear. It's the same way we're going with the steps. We got so much fear. We're afraid. We was talking earlier about people afraid to do the fourth step. And ain't even did it. How can you be afraid of something you ain't even did? Like it's going to be some kind of big monster. I was telling the guy earlier that if you think it's going to be some fireworks and stuff, once you do it. I said, I wanted a band to start marching. I said, man, I'm looking for some exciting stuff. But it didn't never happen. It did not happen. But guess what? It did happen. Who is it? I should have said turn your phones off before we start, but that's okay too. That's how I say I ain't gonna talk about telephone, because I sure talk about cell phone. I get mad with cell phone. Now this basket coming around, it's some old disc in there. Everybody please put a donation in the basket, all right?
There's nothing in it.
You gonna put something in there.
Ain't none this week.
Ain't none in it. But we had some old ones. What happened to the old ones? It was some old ones. We had a basket with some old ones in it.
You need them?
Yeah, he said he wanted to give them out if anybody wanted those old ones. Put a donation in the basket. All right. Now we are almost out of time. How much time we got left?
You have about 7 minutes.
7 minutes. All right, we're gonna read a little more.
So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. They arise out ourselves, and the alcoholic is an extreme example of self-will run riot, though he usually doesn't think so. Above everything, we alcoholics must be rid of this selfishness. We must, or it kills us. God makes that possible, and there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without his aid. Many of us had moral and philosophical convictions galore, but we could not live up to them, even though we would have liked to. Neither could we reduce our self-centeredness much by wishing or trying on our own power. We had to have God's help.
Thank you. You know, it says right here, we must, it kills us. Now, you got to get rid of self. You know, I sit here and tell you, you sitting there thinking that it's all about you. You're going to find out that it ain't. You're going to find out that it is your job to take care and help somebody else. You're not even going to believe it until you see it. It's a baby that ain't even born yet. Ain't even born yet. They're going to have to hear your story. It's somebody going to have to hear your story. And if you're not here to tell it, I see that. Don't y'all see that? So if you're not here to tell it, it's a person, every person in this room, that it's your job to help the next person. We tell them when we go to the detoxes in the hospitals that it is your job, if you came before the next person, to help the person that's coming behind you. You're going to have to stop being selfish. You got a pack of cigarettes, which I don't believe in smoking, you share with the next man. It's lunchtime. You share that with the next man. You want to share something? You okay? Okay. But you understand what I'm saying? You're going to have to help the next person. I did not believe that it was my job and I was going to be able to help somebody else. If you'd have told me that I was going to be able to take somebody through the steps, I wouldn't have believed it. If you told me that I was going to be up here, 100 forms of filth. That's right. 100 forms of filth. I would not do this right here. It's a must. And there's a lot of musts in this book. Selfishness gonna have to go. The guy that you living in that house with, you're gonna have to help this guy or this female in these places that we live. Especially if you're in treatment. You're gonna have to help the next guy. New guy come in, I don't even care if he don't even want it. You're gonna have to give it to him. Say, look, man, that we eat at such and such time. You know what? They don't like it when you do that. Even if he don't take it, he'll know the next time, because you done did your job. You done did your job. You know, we cannot make anybody work the program, but we do our job. My job is to carry the message, not the person. I can't carry the alcoholic, but I can carry this message and tell you this is what you got to do. You got to do this thing one day at a time. Help somebody else. Try it. Try helping somebody else and watch how good it be for you. I did not believe that this thing, helping somebody else and doing what I'm doing, man, I find so much peace. I can go home at night and I can be comfortable in my own sin. And just comfortable. Because it ain't about me. It ain't about me. I don't know about y'all, but it ain't about me. I'm an important person. I need to do what I'm doing because I have to carry this message to the next sick and suffering alcoholic. And if I don't, I'm going to be in trouble. You want to close this out with something?
Yes, please. I'm grateful that you brought that up because I was having mixed and conflicted feelings about an incident that I just went through, helping a young lady that I met in the room. You know, I did it because I remember when I first came in, somebody did it for me. And how grateful I was that they were there at the time that I truly needed them. However, I found out that she had or was never out of active addiction or had returned to active addiction. And the money that I had been helping her with to get to doctors, supposedly getting to doctor's appointments, was being used to get out. And, you know, but like I said, the God that I serve, the higher power that I serve, whom I choose to call God, had revealed that to me. I happened to run into her, and she was zooted. And so it was nothing else to be said. But my initial response, I wanted to be angry, but after I had some time to think about it, I said, you know, I had to search myself and ask myself, what was my motive in that? And I found some peace, because I truly remember when I first came in, how people had to do that for me, you know, going down to St. Joseph, to Grady County, get Grady cards and stuff. But I chose to do the right thing with the money. She unfortunately didn't. Couldn't see the blessing and all of that. So I just wanted to tell you that that was personal for me because I just experienced that. But I found peace in it because I knew I was doing it truly for the right reason.
Thank you. It's just like if you had a start, I was thinking about, you had to sit there, you did this for that person, and then the show didn't go off your way, and you had lost it.
Yeah,
But you didn't.
No, and that's
see what I'm
when
saying?
when you were reading that, I was laughing to myself because the old me.
Right,
had
that actor.
put on. Ooh, Jimmy, you right
That's
now,
it.
you can give me my money back right now, you know, and just clown. But my motives were pure going in. So, you know, and all I was thinking about was I remember truly how people had done that for me. So, you know, it's okay. I'm gonna still continue to help people though because I believe that's what we do pay it forward.
All right, thank you, thank you. You said you call that paying it forward.
Paying it forward, absolutely.
All right, all right, that's it? All right, that's it, y'all. We got 1 minute.